Thanks to Ballet Lounge for sponsoring this episode of Behind the Gloss.
Hey, welcome back to Behind the Gloss. I'm Shakaya Monet, and today I am here with the owner and founder of The Finest Stack, Miss Annika. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good too. Thank you so much for talking with me today. Your jewelry brand is amazing. Like I said, it is called The Finest Stack, and it's gorgeous. It's like simplistic, it's luxury, and it's all ethical. So it's super amazing. But yeah, I mean, for you and your words, like, how would you describe your brand and what made you want to get started with this?
Oh goodness. It's I would say it's jam-packed with meaning. Uh I think that's probably the biggest differentiator. I'm coming at jewelry in a very different direction, kind of from the inside out. Like I just want to have it's definitely decoration, but with meaning and sentimentality and observing and honoring all the highs and lows of life and how complex life is and how complex we are. And so the word fine has kind of a double entendre, and it's, you know, we're all fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotionally unavailable. And so that's the fine in the finest stack. We all just are we're just trying to get through, and we just want to connect. And so, like the clouds, they're tumultuous and sometimes they're tranquil. And so it's kind of the whole brand honors all of that. So it's the finest stack.
My gosh, that's so beautiful. And I think when something has meaning, it just makes it that much better. Like, again, you're not just making something just to make something, you're putting so much meaning and intention behind it, which is absolutely amazing. And you were talking about, like people needing to connect and, kind of opening up. I feel like a lot of people get nervous to open up and say like what they're insecure about.
Yes.
But again, like, your brand is kind of, like, putting it out there. So,
Yes.
yeah, like, how important or, like yeah, why do you think people don't wanna open up, and why do you think it's important to open up?
I feel like for me, I think that I feel so much pressure there's so much perfection out there. And even with AI now, it's all just, my mom is 85 years old. She's like, is this real? And she'll send me these, Instagram reels of animals. And I'm like, no, mom, that's not real, And I think that we crave, I know that the word authenticity is thrown around a lot these days, but I think we crave that, and we crave connection. And in psychology, there's this theory called affiliation theory. And when something good or bad happens to you, you want to be like, listen to what just happened to me, and then you connect on a deeper level. And then life is so much about relationships, and and we're all just not perfect. And I think it takes a little bit of maybe confidence and vulnerability to recognize that we all have injuries. Um and so I think that's why it's important to know that not everything is perfect, and what you see out there, like there's a lot behind those eyes. Not to be corny or quote another lyric to a song, but yeah, there's a lot of what seems to be perfection. And I love your podcast because of the name of it.
Oh,
It's
exactly.
just there's a lot behind the gloss and behind what goes on. And I think
Yeah,
that's another reason why people are so interested in behind the scenes.
I completely agree, and thank you for the shout out to the name. But, yeah, like, I think just like you, I'm very open and I want to be honest about things because it's life. And like you said, we all go through it. And I love the fine, how it had that double entendre. And again, it was like quite shocking, especially with like jewelry, because I think jewelry it is very, like luxury and like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me because it's quite fancy. But I love that. Again, you're just playing with that and just being open. So I feel like I'm repeating myself now, just open, open, open. But again, it's so important. And you're talking about being, like authentic. I definitely think people are craving that. And they're also craving, I think, like ethical things. And another amazing thing about your brand is that it's ethical. You are sourcing real diamonds and real gemstones. So why was that important to you? And what was that process like in searching out those real authentic gemstones? I imagine that was difficult.
It was difficult. It was difficult. Traceability is very difficult for diamonds and gemstones, and the some of the largest leaders in the whole jewelry industry are having a hard time with traceability. So that's definitely difficult. But I think you just have to keep asking questions, Like I just kept asking questions like where did that come from? Why? What how why are those mines so heavily armed? Why did that happen? Why is the Kimberley process? What are the faults of the Kimberley process? And the Kimberley process is it's a way that you can designate the diamonds are not blood diamonds, like there's no conflict, but it doesn't cover human rights abuses, and I didn't know that at first. So I'm just, constantly asking questions, and I think I asked enough questions, and I have seen enough, and I've found the people that I really trust and I know that care about what happens behind the scenes just as much as me, and they walk the walk and talk the talk, and it's hard to find those people. There are a lot of no's, and I'd rather not tell you that, or that I'm not really sure about that. But then if you continue to ask questions and persist, you'll find it. You will.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. And yeah, it's about that persistence. And I like that you were talking about business being about trust
Yes.
because it is. And it's so true. Like who you're working with is super, super important. But before we talk about, how you found that trust with other people, like, did you have to learn how to trust yourself first? Or how was that journey with trust in yourself?
100% yes. And I think, I listen to your podcast, and there have been times when you ask the best questions, but one of them I know was, do you wish you had started your business earlier in your life? And for me, I would say, for me, the answer is no, because of all the things that happen to us, and the things that we go through, and the resiliency. Like, for me, resiliency is showing back up. Like you may be different, or I'm different than I was yesterday, and but I'm going to continue to show up and embrace that, what happened to me, and the differences that I have now from the way I was then. And with each one of those, cloudy times that you go through, you become a little more confident and a little more focused, and you kind of shed some things, and you learn. I learned to trust myself, which has been extremely difficult for me. um we can go into my backstory if you want to, but yes, it was, I think, with all the different things in my pathway and my journey of life, trust has been a very difficult thing. And yes, I had to learn how to trust myself first, just to
Yeah.
have the confidence to walk into a room with people who've been in the industry for 30 years. And but also, I have incredible respect for them because they were open and vulnerable enough to listen to me,
Aw.
and that's enormous.
Yeah. And I like how you were even talking about, like you're happy that you started when you started because every day, every setback, like whatever happens to you, it is shaping you because to have that trust with yourself, to be confident, it doesn't just happen overnight. Like, I mean, there might be people who were born confident, like, God bless you, but I don't think I was born that way. But to your point, little by little, I'm starting to shape and mold into this person. And I think when you have to learn how to be this or learn how to trust yourself, you kind of build up like this wall that like can't be penetrated. It's like, oh no, like I'm never going back there. Of course, I have my days where I'm a little insecure, but it's like I know how to get out of it because I've had to. And so I would love to go into your backstory because you have an amazing one. Like, how did you learn how to be artistic? I guess learn how to be artistic isn't the right phrase, but I think it was quite innate, or would you say it was innate in you?
I think so. I think so. It's like it's when someone says, "Why do you like that color?" Well, I just really like that color. I'm just drawn to it. There are things that are, I think, inexplicable. And my story, so for my whole first grade year, I was in a hospital, and it was deemed that I had a birth defect, and I had to have major surgery, and I had to learn how to walk again. And what I had in my hospital bed were my fashion plates and my crayons and my colored pencils and imagination. And I think that for me, that's where it all started. And that was, I think, when you look back and you read all these books about, different traumas that people have experienced at a young age, that was sort of my outlet. Like that was the way I could handle these feelings. And, now I know that I was probably feeling left out because everybody was making friends. And even though I was back in school, midway through my second grade year, that was a lot for a young person. And I've always loved color and art and drawing and, you know, the way that you can kind of ex- express yourself through that. Like I can channel really big feelings and and get it out and express that. And sometimes the lines are very bold and sometimes they're faint and pastel and watercolor. And then I became a physical therapist for almost 20 years because I really wanted to help and heal people. And then my father died, and I spent a lot of time outside, and that was really, I felt a lot of peace and solace watching the clouds because they don't really follow anyone. They're just it's vast out there. And I started drawing those. And at that point, you know, I feel like we are a little bit egotistical in that when something so hard and difficult happens, I would think, how is the world going on? How is everyone else just driving around? And at that point, I really craved connection. And I, I don't think I could not have gotten through some of those days without my friends. And that's why I say life is so much about relationships. And that was the genesis of the finest stack, really. That was all of those life stories. That was, I just wanted to honor him, and I wanted to make connection and, you know, know that no one's perfect, and we all have the cloudy times, and the magic is between the positive and the negative. It's between the light and the dark, and we're strong enough, and we can endure, and we're still here, and the
Yeah,
incredible things had to happen for us to be here. So
that's so
that's the story.
true. No, and you are like encouraging people, helping them like form connections. And through jewelry, like, of course, it's like you can do it with anything, but I guess just me and my little mind, I guess I wouldn't have imagined you could do that through jewelry. And I love that you're honoring your father. And in that vein, would you like to share like a lovely memory of him that you cherish? And yeah, just so we can kind of get to know like who he was and how he inspired you to make the finest stack.
Oh my goodness. He was such a character. I mean, I could talk for years probably about
Oh,
him. He always said to me, you know, he always believed in education and reading and asking questions. And I think that is where my part of my confidence came from. Just ask the question. And he also believed in on the job training. And he said, you can have all the education in the world, but you're the vast majority of your knowledge is going to come from on the job training, OJT. And he would say, just start. You got to just start. Show up, learn as much as you can, get that OJT. He was always it was always OJT.
oh my
And he
God.
would always say that there are always going to be boring and menial tasks of every single job you have, every single job. Because sometimes I would complain, and he was like, he told me to never complain, never be negative, don't gossip. I mean, he just is such an interesting person, but so funny. And so my husband loves football and is a huge Notre Dame football fan. And Dad called one day and he said, "Well, you know what they say about the nuns at Notre Dame? Can't get none, don't want none." And it's like, where do you come up with these things? He just was,
Honestly.
and then I tried to, there were a couple times when I would say, can I borrow some money? I would like to, fill up my tank with gas. And he would say, well, how much do you need? And I would say, $50. And he'd say, well, I'm too old of a cat to be effed by a kitten, fucked by a kitten. And I'm like, okay, Dad. Okay, maybe I did like inflate it a little bit, because I was trying to. He just,
Gosh.
he just had, he was just extremely unique and could turn situations around. And he was a Marine and he had seen terrible things. And I just, I reach back to the conversations and the lessons and the one liners all of the time.
Oh.
And I just hope that he's proud of me because I'm so proud of him and who he was. And yes.
Oh, I know he is proud of you. And sorry, I don't know what your like beliefs are, but I like to think that when we're done here, we go to heaven and we can look down. So
Yes.
I know he's proud of you, and I hope you're proud of yourself because you're doing amazing things, and it does really sound like you're carrying all that he taught you and instilled in you. And I love how he was talking about on the job training because I think that really is life, just on the job training. But
100%.
then, yeah, but then in the aspect of being an entrepreneur, like I know you were talking about being was it a physical therapist before, so I mean, yeah, did you have any other, what is it, like education or something that would kind of hint at you being an entrepreneur? Or did you just kind of dive in head first and like, I'll figure it out along the way?
Just art. I mean, just constantly dabbling in everything. When I was little, I made all kinds of tie dye T-shirts and all kinds of tie dye everything. And then I got a little bit older, and I made some. I love the Edwardian period, and I made a bunch of Edwardian blouses with cochineal bugs. Like I used, the natural dyes, indigo, cochineal bugs, all of the natural dyes, and made these blouses that were so cool. They were a little bit like tie dye, but a little bit more patterned and lighter and almost like a ditzy floral kind of print
Mm,
pattern. So I've always dabbled in that, and I've always worked in little boutiques, and worked in a glass boutique and clothing boutique, and I thought, I've definitely designed some of my own clothing, and I thought about delving into that because I really needed to do something creative in my life. I've always known that in the back of my head, and the sustainability and there are mountains of clothing out there, and I just didn't feel like that would have filled me up as much to know that there's so much space, warehouses with my clothing in there, and I so I moved on from that.
I love clothes too, and it does kind of break my heart because I thought maybe I'd go into fashion somehow, but you're right, like the sustainability of it all. I'm like, I didn't want to add to the problem, but I might be because I love shopping. But it's very difficult, and I like that you were talking about being artistic from such a young age, and I love that that's driving you. But we know that, as an entrepreneur, it's not all just being creative and being artistic. Like there's a lot of business to it. So was that side of it difficult for you to kind of get a hold of, or did you just outsource? Like, how do you balance the two of being artistic, but then being like serious and analytical and business and all that?
I think for me, the beauty of that was on the job training, working in small boutiques where I would be responsible for looking at the line sheets, placing orders, making spreadsheets, creating address books. I learned a ton just working in the smaller boutiques. And yes, the learning curve has been enormous. Just there is so much learning new programs to create my own line sheets, learning Shopify, how to create your own website, photography, um, being a content creator. I'm definitely not the best at getting in front of a camera, and then editing. It takes me a really long time, and I'm a nice person, and I'm trusting, and I've definitely been taken advantage of, and I think that I'm going to believe that that's sort of par for the course. I think I think for that skin to become a little bit thicker and be a little more wary, things like that have to happen. So that is how I'm going to choose to believe that.
Okay. Yeah, it's quite difficult. And you are a lovely person. And I hope that, you stay nice because I too have, kind of been done wrong by people. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I can start to feel my heart hardening, like, well, I'm not going to be nice anymore. Or, it looks like they're succeeding because they're screwing people over. Like, is that what I have to do? So, yeah, did you have any advice on, for the kind, sweet people like us, how we can still be kind, but I guess be wary of those who may try to take advantage of us? Or, yeah, like, what have you learned from those experiences?
I think two things there. I think trusting your gut, as corny as that sounds, trusting your gut is so important because sometimes our bodies pick up on things that our brains don't haven't caught yet. They haven't gotten there yet. And we have this little section in our brain called the amygdala, and that's our fear center. And it picks up on things that we don't pick up on immediately. And there are a couple of times when I wish I had listened to that. I wish I had said to myself, okay, slow down, wait, listen to that little inner voice, like Oprah says. Listen to that little inner voice because a lot of the times it's right. And the second thing is keep asking questions. I think just keep asking questions, and then do your due diligence, do your research, and then ask people that you trust.
Yeah.
For me, I went to this enormous marketing agency, and I should never have done that. I just thought bigger is better, and that turned out to be a really awful situation. So that was one of the biggest lessons and on the job training that I had, and I wish I had listened to the first time I met the one person. I wish I had listened to that little inner voice.
Oh my days. I hope you're not blaming yourself or beating yourself up because I know I've been there a million times and I love that advice that you said, like ask questions, because I think we can even ask ourselves questions because exactly like you said, I'll meet people and something in my gut is just like, and it's like, I just ignore it, especially in the moment because I just want to get through. But yeah, the quiet times, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe this is what it was. And you start to really get to know that person more. And I feel bad because I feel like I'm judging people when I do that, but it's I don't know, is there a fine line? And then again, because you're so nice and sweet, like, how did you get out of that situation? Because I feel like I find myself in situations where I know I shouldn't be there, but I still feel rude if I leave, even though it's like, you're screwing me over. I know you're screwing me over. Like, why am I scared to leave? So, yeah, how did you get out that situation?
It's one of the most difficult things ever that I've ever had to do. And it's kind of, you just have to say no. You just have to stand up for yourself and say, and it's so difficult. But 5 years from now, are you going to be happy that you stood up, or are you going to be regretful? Are you going to say, wow, I'm so glad I stayed there and let those people just completely pull me apart and stress out my life and my dogs and my children and my husband and destroy my home life? You just have to kind of like zoom out a little bit, I think. That's what I've done. And I just said, Dad, I'm going to channel you right now, because he worked against unions. He had to deal with a lot of really strong personalities. And he just said, when you stand up for yourself, people may not agree, but you will have respect. They will get their respect. And that's important. And that's another way that you can trust yourself, and that I've learned to trust myself, because I'm okay. It was really hard for a while, but I came back a little stronger, different for sure, but stronger. And that's the resiliency.
Oh, good.
Difficult.
Oh, I know it's so hard, but like you said, you're stronger, you're better. Next time, and I think we said it earlier, like it takes time because I know for me it's like now I am learning to listen to my gut, but I'm still a bit delayed as to like standing up for myself and getting that respect. I'm very famous for, like months after a situation happened, going up to someone like, hey, like a few months ago, you did this thing and it actually really made me uncomfortable. And please don't do that again. And they're kind of like, what are you talking about? And exactly like you said, I just have to zoom out and like, look, I just have to say this for me. And, you should at least respect me. And I like that you said, like, they will respect you because at this point, it's like, I don't have to be liked, but I will be respected. And yeah, so hard though.
Very. And then you can go in the bathroom and cry or call me.
Oh my gosh, no, I love you so much. I'm a very emotional person, and sometimes I do do that and just like run and cry, or I'll still feel guilty for speaking up. And I'm like, don't do that, don't do that. Like, don't feel guilty. But again, we're learning and growing. But in that vein, like, in stepping into this entrepreneurial ship, like, what have you learned about yourself or discovered about yourself that amazed you?
that when I'm, oh gosh, there's so many cliches that come to my mind,
It's
but I'm trying
love
so
season.
hard not to just rattle out all these cliches but we really can do hard things. And another one of your podcasts, I remember someone said, you don't have to go to business school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I, when I look back at, when I look back at what I've done and where I came from, it's really just putting one foot in front of the other and asking questions and being passionate about it and not fake. I feel like when you really believe in something, other people can sense that and they want to help you. We all want to help each other. There's so many people that do run towards the danger to try to help others. And going into a room with people who've been in the industry for 30 years and asking them questions, I realized that yes, they're very self-important, and yes, they do, enormous transactions every day with other CEOs, but a lot of times they don't get to talk about their story and themselves, and they want to help you along or me along, and they appreciate that someone is there to listen and learn from them. And I mean, there's an amazing play called Arcadia, and it's kind of about like cycles. Like we shed things, but then we also pick up things as we go along. And I love that. And I feel like that is one of the things I've learned so much about myself is that I have shed things, and some of those things are people that have come into my life and made my life amazing, and like dad, so much love and happiness and also anger, but hope, and they've moved me, but then they're gone, and that's part of life, and we just keep going, and we can do it.
Mm. I love that. And I think it's important to just say that I can do it.
Yes.
Because I think we just get stuck in our mind thinking, oh, I have to do this, this, this. And I'm famous for it. Like, there's a long list of things I have to do, and I get overwhelmed, and it feels like I can't. But yeah, like you said before, zoom out or pick one thing and just be like, I can do this. I will do it. And just go. Like, it's like it's easy, but it's not, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe easy to say, not easy to do. But again, like to me, it seems like it kind of came natural to you. Like you said, you had to learn how to persevere and be resilient from a young age. But then I love how you were talking about you do kind of feel like certain things had to happen for certain reasons. And I always love to ask everyone, like, do you feel like you were destined to be your own boss? Or is this something you stumbled into?
So many times, you know, I would say to myself, I like that, but I would like to do it this way. I like that, but I would like to change it this way. I love that blouse, but I would like to remove this collar, and I'm just going to try it. I'm going to get my scissors and get my sewing machine out. And so I think maybe I was destined just to do something different. I think we probably all are if we really listen to ourselves and follow the path that we really,
Mm.
really want to be on. So
Ooh.
I guess I probably was because I always wanted to do it a different way.
Mm.
And maybe that wasn't right or wrong, but yes. And so that has definitely been a motivator.
Mm. I think that's important because even like with jewelry, I feel like that's a saturated market. Obviously, like you're adding your own flair and things to it, so it does stand out and it is different. But before, was it intimidating to be like, oh, I'm gonna do a jewelry brand? Because I imagine people around you are probably like, there's already so many. Like, like, what are you doing?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think you can kind of liken it to books and words. I mean, there's so many words out there, but people still write books. And the way you put things together is your own, that's kind of your own stamp, or that's kind of your own stamp. And for me, I think I'm coming at jewelry from a different direction, that I want it to be like a projection of the inside out. So it's kind of coming from the inside out. And, it's your stories made visible, our light, our, waves and positives and negatives, and it's that made visible. So I just am over here in my own lane, but I feel like there's room at the table for everyone, because it's how you put it all together.
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
my feeling.
No, it's so good. Like, I guess maybe I felt that deep down because, again, like podcasts are a saturated market. And I think when I initially started, it was like, well, I don't know who's gonna listen, but I'm having fun doing this, whatever. And then again, it just kind of turned into something more, which I'm grateful for. But I know even for me, I was a bit like taken aback. And then I've I get nervous to listen to other podcasts who like are doing something similar because I'm like, oh, like, what if, I'm like subconsciously influenced and then I kind of, start trying to imitate them? But even with jewelry, obviously, like you said, you're working from the inside out, but I don't know, have you even noticed that you might kind of do something similar or maybe like subconscious kind of like another brand? Do you worry about that or do you look at other brands or are you just focused on you?
Oh my gosh, I look at other brands all the time.
Hey, Gloss Boss, looking for another way to add some sparkle and shine into your life? Look no further than today's sponsor, Ballet Lounge, the dance studio where fitness meets fierce, fun femininity. And right now, we've got something very special just for you, Gloss Boss. That's right, you can use my code BL-Gloss22 and get 30% off of our 2-week unlimited tutu trial. Yes, that's right. For 2 weeks, you can get unlimited dance and fitness classes by using my code BL-Gloss22. Although Ballet Lounge is located in downtown Vancouver, you're more than welcome to join us anywhere in the world by doing virtual classes. So what are you waiting for? I can't wait to dance with you. Oh, well, actually, wait, and let's finish this episode.
There's a difference between being inspired and saying, I would like to make that, but I want to make it a little different. I want to put, this and this and this here. That's different than taking the exact same thing and copying it. I kind of stay in my own lane, and I'm definitely inspired. I think I'm more inspired by the stories and the people that I see on, the reels, and why they like certain pieces. And I definitely love some of the gemstones. But yeah, I think like taking someone's actual design and copying it, I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it happens a lot, but yeah. I mean, I have a heart, and I have, I'm sure people will make clouds. That's fine. It's,
Yeah,
I think there are archetypes out there like, heart, egg, cloud, arrow. I could go on.
well, because in that vein, like I know we have this thing of fast fashion, and like to be frank, your pieces are at a higher price point. So if there was like a dupe that was cheaper, would you be flattered or would you be offended?
I think I would probably be flattered. I think it might, if I'm totally honest, it probably would hurt my feelings.
Oh,
But I would just have to. That's just their thing.
mm,
They can go to sleep at night. Then great.
I
But
love that.
but yes, I've worked hard to to source my diamonds, have my own alloy mixture. I draw and create and recreate and think, and so yes, there it is a high price point, but these are fine materials, the finest things that the earth has to offer, and I just love and really value real things and authenticity, and so I hope that that isn't a deterrent.
Yeah, it shouldn't be because again, like you're supporting a small woman-owned business. Again, it's ethically sourced. They're real. I love that you were talking about like the finest that the earth has to offer. Like, of course, it's not just gonna be, like $2. Like, and I
Right.
love that, yeah, you know your worth. So can you kind of take us behind the scenes and tell us how you create one piece? Like, do you create one piece at a time, or do you see it as a collection, like from the inspiration to the final product? What does that look like?
Oh my goodness. I have so I have so many sketches that are on all sorts of different things. Um, I mean, I can't. For me, I can't sit down and say I am going to make a collection that is going to have this many pieces of this and this many pieces of this. The clouds definitely that was sort of easier to do because I was super inspired at that point by the clouds, and so I drew a whole bunch of different um, pieces. You know, the cloud, like the suspended cloud necklace that I have on here, um, with the diamonds, and so the way I'm getting off track, but I like to layer things, honoring the light and the depth and the chaos that life is. And so the tennis necklace is the light, and the chaos is the suspended cloud, and the depth is the tiny cloud moving along by itself, surviving, showing up every day again, maybe in a different way, transforming. Um, so that I guess that collection was pretty easy. In the past, I've done one piece at a time, and since I've really decided to start my brand and market it and really go forward, I've been told that I need to have a collection and a story in that collection, even though I feel like my one cloud is a story in itself. I think for marketers and for retailers, they need to have more pieces, obviously, in the case, not just one. So I'm working hard on that. I love, so I have my clouds, and then I love a good evil eye. So I have that. This is
Ooh,
it's a big cocktail ring, that's an emerald evil eye, and then I have my brave
yes,
um,
I love the brave.
double knuckle ring, and then I have a so I love chamomile tea. So I have the little ear
Oh,
stick there. I love
yeah.
it. With the little flowers and diamonds that kind of trickle down that are super delicate. And then these are the diamond bezel hoops. I just wanted to have some bigger pieces, and I really love hoops.
Me too.
So that's part of that. That's part of the collection that I will have. Working on that.
That's amazing. Because again, you're very creative. I like to think I'm creative too, but I know there are droughts where I feel like you cannot bully me into creating something. So for you, what do you do to get you out of that? Um, yeah, what would you call it? It's not writer's block, but like a creativity block.
Yes, just a drought.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. You just kind of have to wait it out because
Right.
life is going to come at you, and you're going to feel something at some point again that is going to motivate me to write it out, write it down, And even sometimes I write it down and burn it, and that feels great. And usually a couple days later, I'll think of something and then just start. But it's, if someone said to me, yeah, I just can't. It has to come from, it just has to come from a feeling, an emotion.
Hmm. I like that. And then I was even wondering if creative people really do have to be entrepreneurs, because as an entrepreneur, like no one is really down your throat saying you need this by this date and this date. Because I feel like I've suffered a bit when I was working in jobs where I had a boss and it was, like those deadlines. And it's like mentally, I'm not there. Even if it's not something that's creative, I'm just like, I just don't have it today. And so when I'm doing this on my own, I have those moments where I'm getting things done and I'm productive. And then I have other days and it's like, nope, I can't. So I guess even for you, when you were working for others, like, did you find it difficult to still be creative or, yeah, like, how does that look?
Yes, yes. I think we just see the world a little bit differently than those people who are. I I remember a couple of times I loved my window. I made a window, they would say change the window with the clothing, and I changed it and I loved it, and they just came in and said, "Oh no, this is all wrong. Just no, this is, that there needs to be a lot more color." And like, well, I like it was kind of an ombre, like white to darker red for Valentine's Day. And I thought to myself, this is Valentine's Day. Okay, well, we're gonna have a very interesting kind of morbid looking window. And I just thought to myself, wow, how do people see the world very differently?
I mean, we need those people, right? Like, we need
Yes.
some people to see the world this way. We need others to see it differently. Because when we come together, I do think that, again, we see so many beautiful things in this world. Like your beautiful jewelry collection, I feel like that's a testament to that. But even when, you kind of announce to people that you're going to be an entrepreneur, for you, did you get pushback? Like, were they just supportive? Like, yeah, this is totally something you should do. Like, yeah, what was that like making the switch from working full time to then going solo?
It's interesting because some people don't know what to do with you. They don't know how to respond. They don't know. They're they're like, "What? You're doing? Oh, I see. You're making friendship bracelets, or, and I'm like, in a way, yes, I am trying to, I believe beauty is how you make people feel. So I'm kind of making friendship bracelets. But and then some people say, "Oh, so you're just a bored housewife, and you just are very dismissive." Some people are very dismissive, but most of the people are interested, and it's been quite a pivot. But a lot of the people who know me say, "I am not surprised at all. You've needed to do this forever. And I don't know what took you so long. And I've always loved your style." Like, just really positive. And that is another way that I've been able to have the confidence to just fling myself out there, which is the way I feel like this is happening.
And it's really like funny and interesting when, yeah, you become an entrepreneur because it's like, whoa, and it's just things that you never expected. And like we were saying earlier, you don't have to go to business school, but I think even if you do, you're not prepared. It's just like, oh, and I didn't even think about that, or I'm just trying to focus on this. It's just a lot to it, but hopefully you wouldn't want to change it for anything in the world, right? Oh, awesome. Because, yeah, I guess, like, what are the pros and cons of being an entrepreneur? Probably, like, what is one of the most shocking things that you weren't ready for that you kind of had to step into or maybe are still working on being better at?
I am such a doer that I really believe I could work 24 hours a day and still feel like I'm not doing enough. I just, boundaries, I think, are some of the things I need to work on. And and even with the people I work with, I know so much about their personal lives and I care about them probably way too much. And we text every single day, and I'm probably burning myself out, but I don't realize it. I don't feel that at all. So I would say boundaries and something I definitely need to work on. And there's so many there's so many more pros than cons. I really love the flexibility and the independence of making my own schedule and having my dogs around because I I glean so much peace from them. I think they are it's very reassuring to me. Even just hearing them breathe is peaceful and relaxing. And yeah, the cons are every day I say to myself, why didn't I know that? Like, why? But I'm learning every single day. And so I can't be too hard on myself.
Yeah.
I think we're all really hard on ourselves.
Hmm.
And I learn something enormous every day where I say, that was really dumb, or you're kind of an idiot, but it's okay.
Was gonna say, like, we all go through it, and to your point, I think we see it as completely dumb, but I think other people are just like, "Oh, whatever, yeah, just a simple mistake," or and yeah, I think I'm just trying to give myself so much grace. I might give myself a little too much because 'cause I'll take, like, long extended breaks, but, I'm like, "Okay, I did this, this, and this." Even if I have 10 things on my to-do list and I get 1 done, I'm just trying to celebrate that one and then, still being like, "Okay, well, why can we get the other things done? What can we do better?" But like we keep saying, it's just day by day, one step at a time. So, yeah, I hope you're not too hard on yourself.
Yeah. The magic is in the in between, and that there are always going to be good times and bad times, and I feel like honoring the bad times and accepting them and moving on, that gives us the depth, and that's what we need to keep going. Just keep showing up.
I like that. Honor the bad times. I'm working on
Yes.
that because I think so often we're just hard on ourselves. Like, oh, why did this happen? Like,
Mm-hmm.
shoulda, woulda, coulda, if. And it's just like, okay, it happened and I'm still here. And like, what can I learn from it? So, yeah, thank you for teaching me that lesson. And you
Yeah.
were talking about relationships being so important, and you're a mom, so how did your relationship with even your whole family change once you became an entrepreneur? Because, you set your own hours, but then you have to do everything. So you're kind of working 24/7. So, yeah, how did the relationships, I guess, stretch, I imagine, and grow?
Stretch is a good way to put it. I think that I, for me, I think they saw someone in a really dark place, kind of in a tailspin after dad died, who could keep showing up, even like kind of holding on by a tiny thread all the way through to the excitement and the hope and the perseverance and the drive and motivation that I have now to keep going forward. And they've really learned a lot about that. Just that people are going to come and go in your life, and they're going to move you, and you're going to love them, but they're going to leave you, and that's part of life. And just keep going, keep floating along. And they're as invested as I am. They care a lot, and they helped me set up everything today, and they were worried about the dogs, and you probably heard some little shuffling back there. But it really is it's definitely not, it's all a part, it's all of us together.
My gosh.
So that's made our relationship and our connection deeper and better, and they understand a lot more about me in
That's
life.
so cool. And I feel like you're a lucky woman because this whole time you were just talking about this community of support that you have. So I just love that for you. And I know you cherish it because you're just talking about honoring everyone in your life, which is so amazing. And I know they're going to be with you for a long time, like the core people. And so for like the finest stack, let's manifest. Where do you hope to see it in 5 years or so?
5 years or so. I hope it just keeps going. I hope I'm still going. I hope there's so many. I was saying this the other day to my friend. I feel like business school is about labeling things. And so the one guy said, "Well, what do you have any proof of concept?" And so that means basically, do people like your things? What is the feedback? Do people like that? Do they like them? Are they buying things? Are they interested? And so that's all I hope, is that people like my things, and they a piece maybe resonates with them, and I hope to build that community. And I just, if I see a cloud on someone, I'll know that that person might be a little deeper than your average Joe. and they have a story that they want to tell, and something happened to them, and they're still showing up and shining brighter than ever. And yeah,
Oh my
it's
God.
that's
That's amazing. Like, I'm definitely going to look at clouds differently. I'm gonna get my cloud pieces too. Like, I had to decide what I want because every piece is just simply fabulous. So, of course, all the links are gonna be in the description for everyone to look at and buy. So, yeah, we'll give you that proof of concept. Yeah, but I just love just talking about the clouds. Like, I think you hinted at it, but it's like, yeah, you see clouds on sunny days, you see them on rainy days. Like, they're still there. And I love how you even said, like, keep going and keep floating. Because I kind of feel like when people say keep going, it's like, I'm tired of running, I'm tired of trying. Like, I just want to be done. But I love keep floating, just like a cloud. Like, just keep going. Maybe yeah, so thank you. And the last question that I love to ask, I phrase it like this. If you were to lose your voice tomorrow, what's the last thing that you would want people to hear from you?
I mean, as corny as it sounds, I love you. Like, people just want to be loved. They want to be appreciated and loved, and that was the first thing that came to my mind. And the other thing I would say is, I'm here for you. I got you. We're all in it together. We're in this huge canoe, and there's the same force that creates those clouds created us. So we're all just a part of it all.
Put your glass on, get your boss on behind the glass.
Mwah.